Hello, everybody. Well, a big warm welcome to each one of you on behalf of PSTV. And I am your host, Mohini, for this evening, right here at PSTV. Yes, guys, we are live with another amazing and engaging episode for all our viewers right here. So, thank you, everybody. Thank you so much for being with us right here at PSTV today evening and a big warm welcome to all of you guys. So, yes, you and I, we are on this journey, and this journey is called Understanding the Art of Podcasting. Yes, guys, we've covered a lot as far as podcasting is concerned. We've seen a lot, we've discussed a lot, we've spoken a lot on podcasting, and that's what we've been doing for a while now. And I guess everybody by now has got some great insights into the field of podcasting. I myself, while delivering these sessions to you, have gotten so much more information about the field of podcasting because even as teachers, we learn every single day. And I learn from all my beautiful, lovely students out here, guys. I genuinely learn so much from each one of you. Come on. And I think, can we have a round of applause for ourselves today before we start the session, guys? A round of applause for everybody, all the students out here, for the amazing energy and the amazing kind of hard work that all of you have put in, in making all our sessions just worthwhile and making something like the field of podcasting actually interesting. Okay, so come on, quickly write in the chat box your favorite emoji, your an applause for your own self, guys. Quickly, come on. All right. Okay. So I can see a lot of you are typing in. I can see the comments coming in. I can see the applause is there. I can see, yeah, great work. And we love the sessions. Wow. Lovely, guys. And this is so amazing. Okay. So moving on. Today, the theme for today, I think I gave it out in the last session. But for those who couldn't like get me in the last session, okay. So definitely for all of you, okay, the theme this time is the music theme podcast. Yes, it is, guys. It is the music theme podcast, everybody. And that's what we will be taking forward in today's session. And you know what? I just thought, when I was coming live today, I was just having second thoughts of how should I go ahead and actually introduce my show today. I mean, how do I go ahead and start something like a music theme podcast? And after a lot of brainstorming in my end, just trying to make it a little more interesting for all of you, I thought, why not show you guys the kind of things that I have around the house as far as music is concerned. And if you can see my screen clearly today, I think you can see my radio there. There's a small radio. There's another smaller version of that radio which belongs to my son, okay, which is again a music related item. You can see a pair of speaker there right behind the radio. I hope that's clear to everybody. Is it clear, guys? Okay, and you know what? I also have something else. I have my favorite noise cancellation headphones right here. Okay, and all these items, guys, this is just something that I brought together to show you how our lives are actually entwined with music. I mean, I don't think any of us can actually do without music. We love music, okay? And like one of the famous quotes actually go, music is life itself. It genuinely is music. And how could we at PSTV miss out on, talking about that arena as far as podcasting is concerned? Yes, we just had to take over that arena and bring an episode about the music theme podcast to all of you who are so enthusiastic about the field of podcasting. So, yes, guys, please stay tuned to our episode today because we are going to be talking about the music theme podcast. Yes? Okay. So, moving on to what's happening, what's on the block, what have I planned for all of you right here. Okay, so what's happening? Break the ice. And like I always say, break the ice usually used to be like, I would pose some interesting questions to all my audiences here and I would get even more interesting answers from all of you. But for this week, we have a twist there. Break the ice is about this and that, wherein I give you two options and you're supposed to be telling me which option is your choice, which is the option that you would take forward, which is the option that you like, okay? And Moving on after that, of course, we have today's agenda. I've already given out the theme for today. It is building a great music podcast. So, all my music lovers, you've got to stay tuned to this episode, guys, okay? And post that, we have a fun activity as usual because PlanetSpark and fun always go hand in hand. Yes, we learn when we have a lot of fun, guys. We learn effectively. The learning effectiveness increases when we are having fun, when we are having a good time, okay? All right. And of course, post that we have continuing with the ways to build your podcast. Of course, we will be discussing about how can you build the music, the great music podcast. Okay. And of course, before we close the session, it's going to be a recap of the learnings and fun things for homework. Okay. So, guys, let's just start and dive right in with break the ice. Okay. So, I want all yours right here and all your comments in the comment section, guys. Come on. So, this or that. The first question is mornings or night. What would you prefer? Come on, quickly tell me. What would you prefer, mornings or nights? Okay, so I think a lot of you are typing in. I can see most of you are morning people. Okay, well, for me, I'm a complete night owl. Okay, so night owl definitely for me, nights definitely for me because that is the time when I just wind up my day's work and I get some time for my own self. It's me, my Kindle, my coffee, and just some time with my own self. And of course, at times it's me with my music, with my headphones for sure. Okay, all right, so come on. Okay, a lot of mornings. I think as students, all of us are a lot of are usually the morning person because usually we have to wake up at a certain time to attend school, whether it's online or whether you guys have actually started going to school by now. So definitely, I get a majority of the mornings here. Great, guys, thank you. All right. Moving on. Fruits or vegetables? Okay, come on, quickly. I think I know this, okay, in a lot of ways. I know the answer to this, but come on, I still like to hear it from all of you. Well, for me, I'm a complete fruit person. There are a lot of people around me who actually say that I can survive on fruits. If I'm not given food, I can actually survive on fruits. There are just very rare fruits that I don't eat, and I eat maximum of them. Yeah, so fruits definitely for me all the way. Okay. So, all right, I'm getting fruits. Okay. So, most of you are like the fruits. There are few who are saying both. Okay. So, you're like a mix of vegetables and fruits. Yes, that's the ideal way it should be. You should always have the greens as well as the fruits, guys. Okay. You should always include that as a part of your diet. So, great. Lovely. Okay. Now, moving on to the next question in Break the Ice, sweet or spicy? So, what's the kind of food that you like? For me, it's sweet, and only sweet, and that is my cheat meal, guys. Okay, because it's something that I can't control. I cannot control on the intake of the sweets that I have, and that's something that I'm working on every single day. Okay, all right. So it's always the sweet stuff for me. Come on. So tell me your thoughts. Tell me your answers, everybody. So I'm getting the few who are saying spicy, okay, the few saying sweet, spicy, spicy. So it's a good mix, okay. So again, like a mixed bag response that I get here, a 50-50 response, okay. Lovely. All right. The next one. Indian food or Chinese? Come on. So what do you like more? Indian food or Chinese? Or is there like any other cuisine? I couldn't put all of that here. So if there's Italian, if there's Mediterranean, if there's any other cuisine that you enjoy, you can please put it in the chat box, guys. I'd love to read that. Okay, so I'm getting Chinese. Then there's Mediterranean there. Okay, there's South Indian there. Then I also see Italian there, pizzas all the way. So a lot of Italian fans also here. Okay, lovely guys. Okay. And well, I'm a complete fan of Indian food. I can't stay away from Indian food for a very long time. I need my Indian food after a while, okay, after my break, okay. But I do enjoy other cuisines as well. I'm a big fan of the Italian cuisine. I'm a big fan of the Thai cuisine also. So yeah, all that is something that I definitely enjoy. Okay, moving on. Summer or winter? I think I asked you this question yesterday, but again, for all the new kids in the block, why don't you tell me what's your choice of the season? Do you like a summer season or do you enjoy the cold? during the winter season. For me, it's summer, summer, summer. Okay, I don't enjoy the winters too much. Of course, there are days when I enjoy the winter season as well, but it's mostly the summer season that I have a good time in. Okay, all right. So getting winters, yes, the cozy feels, guys. Definitely, winters are famous for the cozy feels and the sweaters and that keep you warm. Okay, summer's also there for the coolers, summer drinks, cold drinks. I get ice creams. I get the ice cream emojis also. Lovely, lovely, guys. Okay. So there is again a mixed bag response here, a mixed response from the audiences. And thank you everybody for being such a participative audience and for participating and joining in this or that segment as far as break the ice is concerned. So thank you. Now, we through with break the ice, and now moving on to today's agenda. What is today's agenda? I've given this out already, guys, and here is something interesting for you. Have a look, okay? This says music podcast with Music Planet at PlanetSpark. Okay, so today at PlanetSpark, we've created a music planet for everybody right here, yes? And I get a lot of emojis, a lot of thumbs up for that, guys. Yes, at PlanetSpark, we have the music podcast with the name of Music Planet, guys. And especially for all of you who are so much interested, who are, actually trying every single day to become better podcasters and more interested in the field of music podcasting, guys. Okay, so this is especially for you. We have the Music Planet at PlanetSpark today. Okay, all right. So moving on, building a great music podcast, guys. Okay, so like I mentioned at the start of the show, that this is something that we will be taking forward. We will be discussing about how do we go ahead and build a great music podcast. Okay, so here, all yours right here, guys, and let's start. Okay. So music is, of course, the common denominator that joins all of us. Okay, it's something that everybody enjoys. I think all across the world, it's something that binds us. Okay, and it's a way of just sharing your memories or introducing you to new artists, songs, and even styles. Okay, and of course, we're here taking you through the process of developing a great music-based podcast, guys. Right from determining the type of show that you produce to getting your music together and finally to also producing your show. So we will be talking about all these things during the course of this week as far as the music-based podcast is concerned. Okay. All right. Moving on. The first and the foremost thing that you're supposed to be doing is that you have to choose a show theme. Okay, everybody. The first step is basically to determine what kind of music show you want to produce. What is the type of the music show that you want to produce? What is the type of music show that you want to podcast about? Okay, and in high probability, I'm sure then most of you already have a vague idea that how you're going to go ahead and about the music show. Because if you're here for a music based podcast, I'm sure most of you have some idea or the other as to what kind of a show you're planning. Okay, but again, in case you don't have an idea and in case you're point blank and you don't know okay how to go ahead with this, so the first thing that you need to do is just take a moment, think about who your audience is. Okay, who's your audience at the end of the day? Okay, is it the adults, is it the kids? Okay, and is it or is it for everybody? Is it something that you're going to do for everyone basically? All right, so think about who your audiences will be, and then you'll be able to come up with the show format, because at the end of the day, it's the audiences who are going to give you your feedback. It's the audiences who are going to help your podcast grow, guys. Okay, so you have to ensure that your podcast is something that is aligned to what your audiences need, what your audiences want. Okay, so think about the entire theme of your show. It could be a regional show. Okay, you could also go ahead with regional show that basically features artists from a specific geographic area, or you could just develop a show that focuses on a certain time period, music at certain time periods. I'm a big fan of the music of the 90s. Okay, so if I was to do a podcast, I would go ahead of the music with the music show of the 90s. Okay, if somebody is interested for the music show or music that took place during the 60s, you can go ahead with that. 70s. Okay, so you can also focus on a certain time period. You can focus on a certain geographic area. You can talk about the local music that's made in your country. Okay, so of course, choose your show theme. That's the first and foremost step, guys. All right, it could be anything, but you've got to choose it. Now, moving on. Once you're done with that, once you've determined your show theme and you know that okay, this is how I'm going to be going ahead with, this is the show that I'm going to be going ahead with, you obviously have to come with an estimated length. Okay, and like I mentioned this earlier also, podcasting does not limit itself to a specific time slot. Okay, a podcast is available in all sizes and all shapes, guys. Okay, we've discussed this earlier in our previous episodes. So your show does not always have to be like a 30-minute long or a 40-minute long show. No, okay, so but again, you've got to know what you're providing, what value you're giving out to your listeners, what are you giving to your listeners. Okay, and of course, there has to be some consistency. It can't be like, a show that started off with something which was like 20 minutes has now come down to barely 5 minutes. Okay, but your listeners are also, after a point of time, they're going to be expecting something. Okay, they also have to have an idea of what they can expect. Okay, so once you're done with the show theme, please work on the estimated length for your podcasting show, guys. Okay. Moving on, the average pop song is 3 minutes and 20 seconds long. So we're giving it out for all of you. The average pop song that has, it's like a trivia fact and something that will help you frame your episodes as well. The average pop song that you hear is actually 3 minutes and 20 seconds long. Okay. And a show that includes six average songs. Okay. If you're planning that your music show is going to include six average song, guys, okay, including the talking that you do, of course, because you just can't go out there and just play music for your audiences. Of course, you'll have to talk something, you'll have to say something. Okay, and of course, the talking and also the intro, the introductory music that you add in will take about 30 minutes. Okay, so in case you have like a six average songs, then that show becomes somewhere around 30 minutes. So this is something that I can help you with, and the rest you'll have to decide for yourself whether you want six songs, whether you want five, seven, eight, depends on your it's completely your take. Okay, and of course, keep in mind that more successful podcasts are less than an hour in length. Okay, so nobody wants to listen to a podcast that is way too long because people don't have that kind of time. Okay, and of course, more than that, also a longer show, a longer podcast show, of course, takes more time to download. Okay, which also becomes a deterrent for listeners. Okay, they feel. It's difficult to download, so of course they would rather go ahead with something that's easy to download and that's easily available, and that's simple to listen to, and it's not too lengthy, definitely. Okay, so these are some things that you can just take a note of, guys, because this is something that will help you frame the estimated time for your music podcast, everybody. Yeah, okay, so moving on now, licensing. Okay, so as far as this is something that we have not discussed in our previous podcast, because licensing was not something that went very well with the other themes that we took up. But when you're talking about a music podcast, okay, licensing, guys, is not a minor detail. Okay, a major fact, it's actually a major fact that you should not overlook. Okay, and it's a huge topic among music based podcasters. Okay, a copyrighted piece of music has two licenses. It has basically two licenses: a composition license and a mechanical license. Okay, a composition license is a license that the musical piece writer or the composer holds. Okay, of the music. All right, so that's the composition license. Okay, and usually you can acquire the composition license by paying royalties to ASCAP, BMI, or SESSC. Okay, SESSC is basically a Society of European Stage Authors and Composers. Okay, so this is about the American music, the European music. Okay, if you're looking for Indian music to go ahead with a podcast with Indian music, then you'll have to go and search of the various organizations that are linked to that. And of course, look in the linear notes of the CDs containing the music, the CDs that you have. Okay, the music that you have, go ahead and search. Okay, you'll be playing the ones that you're going to be playing for your audiences, to see which of the agencies the music is licensed to. You'll be able to see it, okay, on the CDs or wherever there are details about the music. So you'll have to go ahead and check that out. Okay, the licensing is an important aspect, guys. Please don't miss this out if you're going ahead with your music podcast, everybody. Okay, and of course, if you're not playing any music that is licensed to any of those organizations, then of course you don't need to pay them royalties. You don't have to pay them royalties. Okay, a simple way of avoiding the licensing problem altogether is to just focus on independent artists. So you can do that, and trust me, there are so many independent artists all across the world who are creating such amazing music. Okay, so you can go and do a thorough search on these independent artists, and immeasurable amount of excellent music, like I mentioned, is available in all these styles which are released by independent artists, guys. Okay, so definitely, if in case you don't want to go ahead with this licensing thing, and you don't want to go ahead and pay royalties to these organizations, the simple way out is that just go ahead and promote these independent artists on your podcast. Okay, that's the easier way out. And moving on now, several good resources for independent music, of course, are also on the web, including the Garagebandcom. You can go ahead and check this out. And keep in mind that it's still essential to ask the permission to play the independent artist music in your podcast. Okay, so you have to go ahead and contact the independent artist also if you're doing it for the independent artist. If you're conducting a podcast for the independent artist music, also you have to get in touch with them as well. Okay, and of course, more or less permission will be granted freely. Okay, with these independent artists, because even they are trying to gain ground, and even if there's somebody famous, more or less you will be granted permission fairly. Okay, moving on, assemble the pieces, guys. Okay, once you know what your show style is, and you know about the content there, you can begin the fun process of gathering your music. And for the most part, it's a good idea to be consistent with the file format of the tracks that you will be playing. Okay, and for compatibility across, uh, definitely keep your music in the MP3 format, encoded at a bit rate that balances good quality with small file size, which is 128 kbps to 192 kbps, guys. Okay, is that clear, everybody? Can I get a yes in the chat box quickly? Yes, yes, yes. Lovely. All right. Moving on. Gather your music in a folder or playlist in your music program where you can see track length as well as the artist information. Group your songs together into playlists based on the individual shows, so that you can see the songs which actually sound good together, and you can make sure the total time will be close to the show length that you have decided on. Okay, so please do this little work before you go ahead and record that music podcast, guys. Okay, moving on, of course, for consistency, you might want to have a theme song at the beginning of the show, like most podcast shows have. And many podcasters begin their shows with a piece of music with spoken information. Of course, when you're doing a music based podcast, also, it can't be just about music. You can also try and add some inputs from your own side. You can talk about something, okay? Talk about the music that you're playing. Give your audiences some trivia fact about the music. Talk to them, okay? And of course, the various music podcasts, if you go through them, you'll be able to see that there are a number of podcasts which actually start with some sort of a music and with some spoken information about what the show is going to be all about. And whether you're planning on using a copyrighted piece of music or something that, maybe if you're a musician in the making, if you compose something, or you're going ahead with an independent artist, you'll obviously want a special version of the track that automatically fades out at the point at which you start talking into the show. So design your shows in a musical way. It's a musical podcast, okay? So keep it melodious, guys, all right? Okay. So this is a few pointers about building your music podcast, guys. And let's see. And yes, of course, I think we can take a short breather here and do a fun activity, everybody. Yes. So I want active participation for everyone now. Come on, brace yourselves for the fun activity. And today's fun activity, guys, is of course about music. It's going to be melodious because this theme is the music based podcast. Okay, so these are music trivia questions for everybody. All right. Okay. So moving on. The first question, everyone. How many strings are there in a standard violin? So come on, tell me, how many strings are there in a standard violin? So all my music lovers, you've got to know these details as well about the musical instruments. Come on, quickly in the chat box. I'm waiting. A lot of you, I think, are typing in. Okay, a lot of you are thinking. A lot of you have also put in questions for me. So come on, tell me, how many strings are there in a standard violin, guys? In a standard violin, quickly. So I'm getting the number 3, I'm getting the number 6, I'm getting the number 8 there. I'm getting all numbers, I think, okay? I've gotten 3, I've got 6, I've got 8, I've got 10, I've got 12, I've got 2, I've got 4, I've got 5, I've got 6. My God, so many numbers in my chat box. Everybody's made a wild guess, okay? So these are the amount of strings that are there in the standard violin. Well, I'll give it out to all of you. It is 4, guys. Yes, the answer is 4. And kudos to all of you who got that right. I don't know whether it was just a guesswork or whether you knew it, okay? Either way, you've got it right. So good. Moving on. Which musician has his real name as Peter Jen Hernandez? Come on. Think of it. Yes, a musician actually has his real name as Peter Jen Hernandez. And the clue is that it's about a very popular musician. It's a very popular musician. So come on, quickly. Everybody's typing in. I can see. The first answer that I see is Eminem. Okay. Then somebody saying Snoop Dogg there. Okay. Pitbull is also there. There's again Eminem is there. Okay, all right. And I can see the correct answer, but I'm not reading that out, guys. Okay, all right. So I see Bob Dylan also there. I see, wow, and I see the correct answer. Finally, it is Bruno Mars, guys. Congratulations. Yes. And a lot of you, have been guessing, but it is Bruno Mars. Yes, that is a shocker. It was a shocker for me when I was researching the same, okay? All right, and that is the correct answer. So well done to everybody who's got that correct, okay? Moving on to the next question that we have here. What is the oldest musical instrument in use to this day? So which is like the oldest musical instrument that's been in use to this day, guys? Any guesses? There's so many instruments around us. Which do you think is the oldest, basically? Okay. So a lot of you are typing in. I can see that. Okay, trumpet. Somebody says the trumpet. The drums are there. The guitar is also there. The sitar is there. Okay. The piano is also there. My God. Okay. So again, now today it's like a musical evening, and I see so many musical instruments in my chat box also now. Okay. So that's wonderful, guys. And thank you for those responses. Let's see the correct answer now. And the correct answer, guys, is flutes. Yes, it is flutes. And I do get responses like, I think it's a flute. Yes, you are correct. Congratulations. It is a flute. Definitely a flute. Okay. Moving on to the next one here. Which Australian musician outsold Beyonce, Adele, and Drake in the number of CDs that was sold in 2016? So yes, there is somebody who's actually outsold these popular people out here, Beyonce, Adele, Drake, in the number of CDs that was sold in 2016, guys. Come on, quickly, tell me your answers right in the chat box. So I see a lot of question marks there popping in because I think a lot of you are not aware of this. Okay, so the question marks, the think emojis there. Lovely, lovely, guys. Okay, and I do see 2 correct answers, which is great. Okay, I didn't expect anybody to know this, but I'm so glad a few of you do. Okay, all right. So I'll just give a second to the people who are thinking, and let me just show you the answer now. Yes, it's Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. Okay, all right. Okay, and for the ones who got this correct, congratulations. Well done. Good thinking, I must say. Okay, all right. Moving on. What was the Jingle Bell song initially called? Jingle Bell song, our favorite song during Christmas. Okay, we love that song. All of us do. So come on, tell me. What was it initially called? Do you have any idea? It was not called Jingle Bells for obvious reasons. So, what was it initially called, guys? Quickly, come on. All right. So, a lot of you are thinking and saying, really? Okay. All right. Jacob is also giving me question marks. Leo is also giving me question marks. All right. So somebody says Santa song. No, it wasn't Santa song, Sahil. Okay, you can think of something else maybe. Okay, and I think I should give it out. Okay. So the correct answer for this one is the one horse open sledge. Yes, exactly. Okay, this is the correct answer, guys. And yes, okay. A few of you have got this correct. I'm going to be showing a few comments. Thank you. All right, lovely. Okay, moving on. Now we're through with the fun activity. And guys, did you enjoy the music trivia that we put together for all the music lovers today? Did you have a good time? Okay, these were well researched questions, as far as the music field is concerned. Did you have a good time answering these and thinking about the answers? Come on, quickly tell me in the chat box. Any reaction from your end? Right in the comments section. Come on, everyone. Okay, so I get a lot of smileys, I'm getting a lot of thumbs up, I'm getting a lot of high fives. Good. So I'm so glad you had a good time, attempting these trivia questions on music, everybody. Okay, moving on to our music based podcast. Speak up. That's the next point, guys. Speak up. And of course, now we're moving on to your voice. Okay, narrate your show, guys. I mentioned this earlier during the start of the episode also that your music podcast just doesn't have to be about the music. Okay, and of course, all these things. No, I mean, a few of you have sent in questions that what this is about. Okay, so this is about the music based podcast, guys, that we are doing on PSTV. And there are a number of you, but I can only show a few chats. Okay, so there's not too many chats that I can show out here. There are only few that I can show. All right. Okay. So now, of course, we move on to your voice and narrate your show. You've got to narrate your show, and here's your chance to actually release your inner DJ, like I say, okay? And a music podcast without any sort of dialogue about the music or the artist you're playing is unfair to your listeners and to the performers whose music you're playing. Okay, so you've got to have some sort of dialogue in place, definitely. Okay, your listeners might want to know why you picked the track you're playing. Okay, or if it's not a well-known song, the artist's name, the details about the track, where can they find the song? Okay, so all these things are there that you have to, of course, go ahead and talk about as far as your podcast is concerned. Okay, so definitely speak up, guys. Please do a quick narration. Don't just let your podcast be about the music playing. That's about it. No, you've got to tell your audience. You have to inform them. What are you talking about? And all of you at PlanetSpark are such great speakers. Okay, we're all working on that. We're all working on our public speaking skills. We're all working on our communication skills. So of course, that's something that you want to do at the end of the day. You want to display those great skills, those amazing talking communication skills that you have. Okay, so go ahead and put them at work. Okay, as far as the podcast is concerned, as far as your music based podcast is concerned, guys. Okay, moving on. If you've gone through the trouble to get permission from a particular artist to play their song in your podcast, guys, the least you can do is that you have to give them credit also. If these are the independent artists that you have picked up as far as your show is concerned, that you want to talk about, of course. Okay, so somebody says what's up right now. I think you've just joined in. Please stay tuned. We are talking about the music based podcast. Okay, yeah, that is our topic for today. All right. So of course now, if you have gone ahead and you have actually taken the trouble of getting a permission from a particular artist that you want to play their song in your podcast, the least you can do, guys, is to give that artist credit and let people know that this is where you need to go, where you can find that artist. Okay, where you can talk about that artist. Now, as you talk, you might get really excited and start talking louder, forcing your listeners to adjust their volume knobs. Okay, So, or you might just start talking quietly at points, again, forcing your listeners to compensate, guys. Okay. So what happens with a compressor? This is where a compressor comes into place, and I think we've discussed it during the DIYs in the initial episodes on podcasting. Please go back to those episodes and have a look through all the discussion that we've done as far as the DIYs are concerned for podcasting and for treating your room and for creating the right atmosphere when you go ahead and record a podcast. Okay, so of course, a compressor is something which will help you have that consistency in volume, and of course plug a pair of headphones into your computer, guys, so that you can hear your voice as you speak. And it's a great tool to use when you're experimenting with different filters, plugins, since you can hear the results immediately. And you use the headphones when you're recording the show, so you can monitor the sounds that your listeners are also hearing. Okay, moving on, what do we have here? The next point that we have here is know what you're playing. Okay, so of course you have to keep in mind about the music that you're playing, and of course you're not playing music directly from your playlist organizer, because firstly, it's difficult to end the playing of one track before the playing of the following track begins, and it can be downright impossible if you have built-in segues turned on in your playlist organizer, because the second track might actually start playing as early as 10 seconds into the end of the previous track, guys. Okay, so please make sure that you do not play your music directly from the playlist organizer, everybody. Okay, and the second reason for the same is that it allows you to set the volume of each track individually, the different kinds of music that you're putting together, that you're making your audiences listen to. Every music is different. Okay, there's some tracks that are slow, there's some tracks that are peppy numbers, there's some fast tracks. Okay, so of course you have to adjust the volume of each track individually, and do your research, get information about the tracks that you'll be playing, and of course, from the artist and the title of the song and the album that the track is available on, where the band is from, maybe some trivia about a member of the band, some popular band that the artist came from, all these things. And all these things, of course, is something that you can sort of look into. Okay, and anything that you find interesting is something that you can put together and make it available for your listeners, guys. Okay, because at the end of the day, you have to create content that is engaging. Moving on, choosing the recording software. Now, there are several pieces of software which are available for recording your show. And one popular option is to combine the free Audacity program with an audio direction tool called Soundflower. Okay. And of course, on its own, Audacity will record a single audio channel, whether it's your music or your voice. So, on its own, it's not a great recommendation for podcasters. And of course, Soundflower is a tool that lets you direct audio from one application to another. So you can use Soundflower to route the music from QuickTime and your voice from Audio Hijack Pro to Audacity. And there are more tools that are being introduced every day. So please check podcasting forums like the Podcast Alley, Yahoo Podcasters group, and you can just learn about new tools that are added every now and then, and it'll get much easier for you to use. Okay, and put that podcast together. All right, guys. I hope this has been clear. Is it clear about the basics that we did as far as building a music podcast is concerned? If it's clear, just type in yes in the chat box. I am waiting, everybody. Quickly, 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 quickly. Come on, come on. Okay, good, good, good. So I'm getting yes, yes, yes. I'm getting the thumbs up. Lovely, guys. Thank you. Okay, and before we close the session for today, of course, a quick recap. Yes, we have been talking about building a great music podcast. That's something that we have done in today's episode, everybody. And I hope it has helped you. And thank you so much for your responses. I can see more yeses coming in. Thank you. All right. And of course, the homework, guys. Okay, and thank you for your mails, for the recent homework. I am in the process of responding to all those mails, and you will receive a mail from me shortly. Okay, now the homework for this time is just research a little more about the music podcast, so that it gets easier for you to grasp the format and the ways to start with your own music podcast, guys. Yes, that's the reason that everybody is here. You're here because you want to go ahead with, the music podcast. And, so thank you for joining in, and go ahead and complete this homework. Okay, this week we will be talking about the music based podcast. And, of course, this is something that all of you out here who are present with me here today, you are keen about. This is something that you want to work ahead on. So please go ahead and research about these podcasts as well. Okay. And of course, before I close this session for today, guys, we have what's next. Okay. So what's next? What are we going to be talking about in the next episode? The next episode is going to be about recording and promoting your music podcast. Yes, that is what we will be talking about in the next episode. So till then, all my lovely children out here, have a good night's sleep, have a good evening ahead, and just think about your music podcast and stay tuned to my episodes. Take good care, and I'll see all of you really soon. Bye bye.